Thank you. He is risen. What a spectacular Sunday. And I was sitting there and I got to hear you sing, and oh, you sound good. What a good Sunday. For those of you who are new here, maybe you don't come terribly often, boy, you're welcome here. We're glad that you are here. My name is Peter. I'm one of the pastors here. Let me open in prayer. There are just no words other than thank you. So thank you. From the deepest part, we worship you. Amen. Cecilia is 6. Most days you can find Cecilia playing out in front of her house on her front lawn. She waits for her father to come home from work. And so she plays and she looks and watches, looks down the laneway and watches. And eventually she sees the familiar form of her father as he walks home. Cecilia jumps up from what she's doing and half runs, half skips out to her father, calling his name, waving, "Papa, Papa, here I am, Papa." It's the game they play. Her father pretends he hasn't seen her. Like so many days before, he plays the same game. And so he walks and he whistles and he looks everywhere except to where she's coming from. The closer she gets, the louder he whistles, until there is no question that she sees him and he sees her. And she runs and jumps into his arms and he scoops her up and he says, "Cecilia, I love you." And he spins around in a circle and then he takes her by the hand and they walk home as she tells him about her day. Today, she notices his coat. "Papa, where did you get that coat? That's not your coat, Papa. Where did you get that coat? Papa, did you buy that coat? We don't have enough money for you to buy a coat, Papa. Mom's going to get mad. Papa, we don't have enough money for this. Papa, when we get home, Mom's going to be mad, Papa." "Cecilia, it's okay. Don't worry. I'll tell your mom. It's okay. Do you like my coat?" "Papa, Mom's going to get mad. We don't have enough money, Papa." They walk up the lane to their house. It is a humble home, to be sure. Nothing fancy. He opens the door, and inside he finds Alba, his wife. And Alba looks up from what she's doing, and her gaze meets his, and there's a smile on her face, but the smile is cut short. "Where did you get that coat from? That's not your coat. You don't own that coat. Where did that coat come from?" "Alba, don't worry. I got this coat from work." "You didn't get that coat from work. You've been gambling. You're gambling again. We don't have the money for this. Every time you gamble, we lose everything. We can't eat. We lose our home. We lose our friends. We have to move. You promised me you wouldn't gamble again. Why did you gamble?" Alba, calm down. It's okay." "It's not okay. You're gambling." "Alba, I was gambling. I'm sorry, but I won this coat. It didn't cost us anything. I won this coat. It's a beautiful coat. It fits me so well. I got it. It was from one of the guys that we were crucifying. And we were betting. And I got this coat. It's okay. It's okay. Alba, I need to tell you something. The one in the middle that we were crucifying today, there was something about him. His name was Jesus or Joshua, oh, I don't remember. But there was something about him. And when he died, I just got the sense that things were going to be okay. I can't explain it. I don't know why. I know that you're angry. I know that you're angry. Come, let's have some supper. Come, Cecilia, come on. Let's have some supper. Let's sit at the table. I'm hungry. Come. I know that you're angry. I'll do better. I promise. I won't gamble anymore. I promise. There's tension in Easter, isn't there? Oh, for some of us, we celebrate. For some of us, celebration is very far off. There's tension. We know. We're glad you're here. It's okay. You don't have to get rid of the tension. Life's complicated. On Friday, I was at the Good Friday service, the joint service we did. Good Friday, the name of it sort of catches in my throat every once in a while. It just doesn't sound right. I mean, I understand it, I do. But there's just something about it, Good Friday. And so every once in a while we decide we're going to change the name and we call it something different, and it lasts for a little while, and then we go back to calling it Good Friday. And we were at the Apostolic Church, which we know about 13 churches that stated that they would attend as their service, but I am very certain that there was more than 13. In fact, it was so packed that I've heard about literally hundreds of people that couldn't get in. There was 2 services. I was at the first service and Joel was at the second. I saw a lot of you there. Joel tells me there was a whole bunch of people also in the second service. It took me about 20 minutes to get out of the parking lot at the end. It was just full. And my job was a greeter. And I was standing at the front doors. And as people come in, you want to greet them and you want to welcome them. Hello, welcome here. Glad you're here. Good morning. Good morning. And I can't tell you how many people's hands. People from all over the world. People who they looked like me. And then people that they do not look like me. Good morning. Welcome. Glad you're here. Welcome. Hi, my name is Peter. I was wearing a name tag. It said Rosewood on it. Welcome. There's this one woman came in. She looked like me. I think we probably grew up together in the same area, although she was a lot older than me. Good morning. And she whirled around and looked me in the eyes and hissed at me, "It is not a good morning." I know. I'm sorry. It's just a construct of trying to welcome you. I'm glad that you're here. Stomp, 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 stomp. It reminded me of another woman that hissed at me once. The message was clear. The music had better be the style I think is appropriate for today. The lights had better be at the level that I choose. This had better be right. I guess she knew how to do Good Friday. I don't know. It wasn't long after her, there was another woman that came in. She did not look like me. Her skin was far darker than mine. She came in and she said to me, "What do you love about Easter?" Now that was interesting because about the 5th time I was asked that, each time by a person who did not look like me, I began to wonder. I wonder if this is cultural. I wonder if there is something that we say that there is an understood response to, so long as you're from here, he is risen. Mandy, is this Regina? Is it where? I can't even find my wife. I know she's here somewhere. He is risen. He is risen indeed. And how many people in here did not know the response? But I was asked, what do you love about Easter? Well, everything. I mean, anything ever that has any sort of significance, anything of any sort of importance at all, ever, past, present, and future, is somehow wrapped up in the Easter story. Without Easter, there is no Christmas, and without Christmas, there is no Easter. I wondered if it was cultural. That woman also seemed to know how to do Good Friday. It's good. Why do you love Easter? It's as if when God created the world at the very beginning, He breathed out and there was everything. And then there's the story of Exodus and the destruction of that which is. It's like He breathed back in. And then there's Christmas. And Christmas He breathes back out. And then there's Good Friday, and Good Friday He breathes back in. And today is Easter, and today He breathes back out. And it just sounds to me like the heartbeat of Christ. And that's why I love Easter. There were two women, both of them named Mary. One of them named Mary Magdalene. She's got quite a story. And the other one we know as Mary, who was the mother of James, and James was the brother of Jesus. That Mary. And they went to the tomb. Now I need to tell you, there's a lot in that sentence. They are going to the tomb with spices. These spices are to mask the odor of rotting flesh. They're trying to make it less objectionable. They are going to dress a body that has been killed. But in the entire time that Jesus was dying, Jesus was mocked. The mocking did not stop when Jesus died. The mocking turned from Jesus to those who follow. One of these people is also Jesus' mother. This is a gruesome task. This is a deeply embarrassing task, not to mention that in Judaism, you don't mess with dead bodies. You just don't. They're really unclean. And that matters. But on this day, there's sort of a special permission given, and they can go and they can care for this person that, number one, they loved. Number two, they've got a story, particularly if your name is Mary, that is not explainable outside of the truth of who God is. But they will be mocked as they go, and when they get there, they're going to get to the tomb that a woman and two women cannot possibly figure out how to open. See, it's sealed with a rock big enough that you can't open it. Not unless you really want to, you know how to do it, and you have tools. That's not these women. And they're talking, how will we get this open? And they go to the tomb. Oh, by the way, there's guards there. I hope they'll be kind, those Roman guards. There was a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven, going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. I want you to understand the undescribable display of power in that sentence. An angel came and rolled the tomb away as if it was a pail and sat on it. This thing that is there to seal, to stop you, to stop the looters from coming, to stop those who would take this body and mock the Jews further with it. The tomb, or the rock that was placed there, to stop all of that. An angel comes and rolls it away and uses it as a chair. Do you get it? Do you get the power in that story? His appearance was like lightning. Here's another way of saying it. The glory of the Lord shone all around him. We've read that elsewhere, haven't we? The glory of the Lord expressed in unbelievable light, like lightning. And his clothes were white as snow. They had not yet invented bleach. White clothing is hard to come by. And his clothing is as white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him that they shook and became like dead men. Now, if anyone in here who fancies themselves a scholar, there is an argument that says that they were so frightened that they completely froze. They looked dead. There is another argument that says they were so scared they fainted and stayed unconscious. And there is another argument that says they fell down dead. I don't know. I wasn't there. Let me know what you decide. But I'll tell you one thing. Utterly terrifying. Utterly, completely, monopolizingly terrifying. And these two women stand there. The angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus." Who told them? Who told him that? How does he know that? Jesus was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. He has risen. He has risen. He has risen from the dead. He is not here. I can tell you where he isn't. He isn't here because this is where a dead body rots. This is where women come to dress a body in spices that are stronger than the smell of rotting flesh. This is where he isn't. He is risen. Come and see the place where he lay. Come on in. Come and look at a table where he isn't. Come and look at something that has lost significance, or rather the significance has changed, hasn't it? Then go quickly and tell the disciples, he has risen from the dead and he's going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. That's a lot of information, hey? For one paragraph. That is a lot of information. And we have two Marys that are standing there that their eyes must be spinning around in their head. Not literally. But they must just have more questions than they can possibly put into words. How? What? Where? Who are you? What? How did this? I'm still stuck back on the thing being rolled away. Where is Jesus? What do you mean he's not here? He's dead. I watched him die. And I love this. Then the angel says this. Now, I've told you. Go. I've shown you where he isn't. I've told you where he is. He's going to Galilee. You have a job. Go tell the disciples and get yourself to Galilee. That's where he is. Why are you here? Do you want to see a rock? How about a table? Do you want to see an empty tomb? Go. I've told you, he's in Galilee. Go. So the women hurried away from the tomb. No kidding. If it was me, you'd have heard tires squeal. Even if I didn't have a car. You give me permission to get out of there, goodbye. They were afraid, yet filled with joy. Now, I wonder if that might resonate with us a little bit. The joy of Easter. He is risen. But is there any part where you are afraid? Is there any part in your life where there is still fear? For these women, yeah. You see, him being gone does not mean that those who would jeer and mock and maybe throw things won't jeer, mock, and throw things. There is much to be afraid of. They are the hunted. And where do they go? They are afraid, but they are excited, afraid and yet filled with joy, and they ran to the disciples. Suddenly, Jesus met them. Greetings, he said. Hello, welcome, friends. Hi, good to see you. They came to him, clasped his feet, and worshiped him. Jesus, you are alive. We watched you die, and God, you dead is really a problem. That's really a problem because God doesn't die. And to this point, since their birth, they have been awaiting the Messiah, found the Messiah, believed the Messiah, worshiped the Messiah, and then he died. Oh God, you are here and you are alive. And they worshiped him. Then Jesus said to them, do not be afraid. This comes up again and again and again and again. Do you know what the most common command in Scripture is? I didn't say the most important. I said the most common numerically. Do you know what it is? It is some version of be happy. Do not be afraid. Rejoice. Be joyful. Some version of be happy. And Jesus has come back from the dead. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There they will see me. There's a question these women will start dealing with in that moment. And it's a question that every person since will deal with, and I deal with it, and you will deal with it. And you do deal with it. And it is this. Will you live in the dark of fear, or will you live in the light? You see, everything changed. The old ways are the old ways. They're the old ways. They're old like horse and carriage. They're old like typewriters. They're old like leeches. There's a new way. There's a new light. And sometimes we are afraid. But there is light. And the question is, will we live in that light? There's an image. I was going to bring my sunglasses up on stage. Yesterday or on Friday when it snowed, I won't talk about that too much, we'll all get upset, but when it snowed, I found it really bright driving over to the Good Friday service. And I should have put on my sunglasses. But if in fact the radiance of the Lord reigns around him, and he lives in us, then his radiance should shine through us. And the image would be that of sunglasses, not so that my eyes don't hurt, but so that your eyes don't hurt. Because the radiance of God inside of me, now possible because of Jesus' resurrection, should be plainly evident through the fear, through the joy, through the celebration, through the foot stomp because Good Friday wasn't the way I wanted it, through life. Will we live in the dark or will we live in the light? So the 11 disciples went to Galilee, wouldn't you? To the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. When they saw him, they worshiped him. Some doubted. Then Jesus came to them and said, "With all authority in heaven and on earth that has been given to me, therefore go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you, and surely I am with you always to the end of the age." He is risen. He is risen. He is risen. We'll see you next week.